Well, here we are, still in Astoria, Oregon. We've been here a lot longer than we anticipated, but that's short-lived. We're looking for windows to head south. Mainsail's not up yet. Since we've got the boom in, we've ordered a bunch of material to finish this project. A lot of it's come in and we'll start working on that today. Some is on back order, but I think we'll be real close to getting this mainsail up, at least functional. It's gonna be exciting. It's going to be a necessity as we start hopping our way down the coast. Regardless, I think we'll be able to get this to work for now and just keep improving it and tweaking it as we sail. We're all in great spirits. It's been a tough time just hiding out here in Astoria, but it's time to go. So we're going to get as much done as we can this week and start looking for those weather windows. So let's get to work. The first project I'm going to tackle is this traveler track. This is our traveler for our main. It runs across the top of our davit system here and is integrated into this real beefy structure. You know, the problem with it was this is a Harken track and it was a little short. We wanted to extend this all the way to the end to get a little more travel on this. So we knew we wanted to upgrade because our old Harken travelers, those blocks were at the end of their life and needed to be replaced. We've been upgrading all of our hardware to Garhauer. So we approached Garhauer to get a new track and a new Garhauer traveler system. Unfortunately, we approached them about 3 weeks ago, and I'm not sure if they're understaffed or if they are just backlogged, but they haven't even got back to us with a quote. We've contacted them multiple times, so we're forced to use our existing track and just replace the cars. So we ordered new Harken cars, actually got those in about a day. It's a big expense for a temporary fix, but it's the only way we're gonna be able to get this main up. So I'm gonna work on that first. Eventually, we will be upgrading this to a Garhauer track and Garhauer system and extending it out to full length. But for now, let's get this Harken assembly installed. Okay, so I've laid everything out. Here are the new Harken traveler cars right here. And you know, these feel really nice. I'm happy with these and they're probably going to be fine. It does bother me a little bit that, you know, we are mixing Harken with Garhauer, but you know, in this case it's something that has to be done right now. I have all the hardware laid out. Here's our control lines and our main sheet. This is stage one. The main sheet actually will travel down the boom. It'll go through these double blocks first and then travel down the boom through these blocks and route forward to a winch. That's going to be part B of this project. But first, let's get all this in and see how everything looks. Reading the directions, they want this end piece flush to the outside of the track. But in order to do that, it's running real close to this bar here. So I'm going to slide it back to the first position here. I'll remove this screw and just replace it through here. Does get me within 1.5 inches. Eventually, when we get a longer track, that won't be an issue because I'll be sliding it way out here. Okay, before I slide this car on, what I want to do is attach my control line. And I want to do it now because I have to take this apart and take this stack off here to get my I-splice onto this position here. And I don't want to do that over the water. All these little pieces, I just don't want to risk any of them going overboard. So I'll do it over a table, connect this first before I slide this in. Last week, Emma and I had a fun time. I was teaching her how to splice these eyes. I didn't show how I did the Yale whip lock, so why don't we look at that right now while I'm preparing this to install. So I just completed this small little eye splice in this 3/8 Duralong double braid. You know, this eye splice, actually, you could feel it. It goes, look at that, all the way back into here. That's how far back that splice goes. But it's nice to put a Yale whip lock stitch in here to keep it from moving. And I've seen people put it in multiple locations. Anywhere along this will certainly help. I like to put it closer to the eye. I think it helps keep the eye shape a little better, but you could put multiple on here if you want. I'm just going to put one in for now, right near the eye, and that's going to do it for this application. I'll show you how I do it. I like to use a 1mm waxed whipping twine, a number 15 needle with a big eye. All I need is a pair of scissors, a pair of pliers or vice grips.
He forgot to mention he uses my cutting board.
Because once in a while, the needle will get it's hard to push it through. It's nice to have something to help assist it. First thing I do is to spool off about 1 meter, 40 inches, something like that. And this is how you get it started. I fold my line, just like that. I do about 10 revolutions, and I try to make it as tight as I can. Keep one right next to the other. And you're working your way away from the eye. Let's do one more. Okay, it feels real good. This loop, you pass the last revolution, and I'm holding this with my finger to keep nice, even pressure on there. Now it's as easy as pulling this in. Watch this. This is going to lock it in. Make sure it doesn't twist up. And you give it a pull so you can feel the knot. Pull about halfway through. Okay, it is locked on right there. Now before I start with the needlework, I'm going to straighten this out and make sure that all these are nice and orderly. Just kind of work them till you feel happy with how they look. Get them as tight as you can. Okay, there we go. Now thread your whipping twine on your needle. There's many variations of the stitch. Some people use a 45-degree angle, some people go straight across. I kind of tend to like the straight across. It's easier to keep track of what you're doing. You could double the thread at this point or single. I like a single, but do twice as many stitches. That gives me more penetrations through here. So I start by plunging it through. Now the tricky part is once you plunge it through, you have to come out at the right spot on the other side, and it takes a little practice. There you go. Pull this nice and tight. Now just start working my way around. We'll do the next stitch straight through here. And I just keep working my way around till I have 2 layers on each one. Each time pulling it as tight as I can. Okay. Now you'll see that I have 2 layers, 2, 2, and 2. Each one is going through the splice, locking this in. There's no way that could ever move. If it ever starts to slip, all it will do is tighten this stitch up. So now to terminate this, I'll plunge through one more time and exit as far as I can up the line. Try to go the full length of the needle. This is where you have to grab it. I don't like to mar my needle, so I put a little tape on there. Give it a little pull and trim it off. I'll do the same. With my starter, I'll plunge it all the way through first. And then terminate as far as I can, again, up the splice. Cinch everything up. Trim it off. And there we go. Looking at this, your natural reaction is to just remove this and slip it on. And there's a set screw right here. But after reading the directions, it says do not remove this. Actually remove these two. Pull this assembly up and slip it on. Try to hold this assembly together, lift it straight up, slip this on. Okay, there we go. Okay, both the end cars are done. Now we're gonna direct our attention to this bad boy here. You know, Harken has the new CB Traveler system. This had the retainer clips on it that hold all the internal bearings from falling out. This piece of foam is the only thing that's holding them in now because I had to remove these. It's made for a more modern track. We're putting it and we're retrofitting this onto an older track that does not accept this retainer clip. I'm going to save these clips though, because if we upgrade to a Harken track, I'll be able to put these back on. If we move on to a Garhauer track, then, well, it'd be nice to put these back on regardless, just to hold the bearings in place. Let's get this first side on. It's nice having a lanyard on this. I feel safer anyway. Okay, that's going to slide into that position there. It's a 3/8 stainless bolt with a fender washer and a locking nut goes on the back side. Before I slide this main car on, Lynn had a great idea to put just a tape dam around this in case I lose one of those bearings. It's not going anywhere. Okay, this foam is the only thing holding in all those bearings. So as I slide it on, I need to pull the foam out. Well, that didn't work. Okay, let's do try number 2. And there it is. That main car in, I take my tape off. And install the last car. Okay, now I need to route this control line. I've whipped the ends and I like to just give it a little bit of burn on the end. I don't like it totally melted because as it travels through your hand, I don't want to get cut up, but it feels real good. I use that same whip stitch that I do for the Yale that I do for my ends, and I think it works out pretty slick. Okay, to get this thing routed, I'm doing a 4-to-1 purchase. There's quite a bit of line on here. You know, reading the directions. It says take the length of your track, multiply it times 4, and add 1 meter. So that's what I did. It seems awful long, but we'll see how it works. There's a particular order that this goes in. And this is the largest line that I could put on here. It's 3/8, but it's a high strength, low stretch. It's the same Duralon line that I've been using throughout the boat. Okay, this is going in pretty smooth so far. Leads come out in a nice place to control them. But look at this. Quite a bit of extra line. You know, it takes that amount of extra line because we have a 4-to-1 purchase. As the main car travels to one side, it's going to chew up the majority of this. But we need a nice place to store it. So Lynn's inside right now, making a custom bag. And you know, we came up with a design. We're gonna set the bag out to this edge and make a longer, skinnier bag. So with this traveler on here now, the line will go into one side of the bag, and when we extend the traveler out, it'll go into the other side of the bag. And that line should flake inside of this new bag, nice and clean.
Bags are done.
Okay, to the right.
My right or your right?
You're right. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Keep. No. Keep going. Almost to the end. Like right in there.
I don't want to get that far.
Okay, come back a little. No, it has to be a little further. Has to be almost to the end.
That is to the end.
Right there. It's about 3. Let's go back it up a little. Right there.
Well, if we do that, then we're missing.
I know. Go to the right. Yes, right there. Perfect.
You like it?
I do. I like how we kept it low profile, so we have visibility under it. That's going to be pretty cool.
Are you going to stop talking? My arm's getting tired.
Okay, let's get it installed. I'm really liking these bags that Lynn's making. They work awesome for keeping your lines nice and dry with the mesh on the bottom. All the hardware. We're using these twist turnbuckles so we can remove these if we need to. I have all the tools laid out. I'm using aluminum pop rivets because it's going into an aluminum structure. 1/8" drill bit and my pop rivet tool.
Perfect. You know, this isn't as nerve-wracking as it looks, except when you have an OCD husband who is watching your every move, every single time you drill something.
Oh,
I guarantee you,
come on.
Teal's gonna come out here with calipers to make sure that they're all lined up.
They look perfect.
We'll see. I caught you.
Oh,
What are you doing?
I'm just kidding.
Really?
They look good. It scared me.
Give me the calipers. Walk of shame.
Whatever. They look good.
this week's episode of Onboard Lifestyle. I think we got a great jump on all these projects, and I'm hoping that we can push through to be ready to shove off. Until then, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and a huge thanks obviously to our Patreon crew. If you would like to join, the link is down below, and your support allows us to continue sharing our videos with you. Until then, I gotta get this crew fed so that we can get going on that main. So come back next week to see if we're able to shove off. See you then.